is proposing a constitutional amendment that will make it a duty rather than a right for Nigerians to vote. Fashola, who was reacting to impressive rates of permanent voter card collection by eligible voters, said more needed to be done to motivate Nigerians to get involved in the elections and vote representatives of the choice into elective office. But the former Lagos State governor insisted that it is not a hopeless situation for the country, as democracy is a process. Emeka, I just posted something on my page now, and I saw the updates, and quite impressive, Emeka, quite impressive what I saw. And the level of awareness is, is almost unprecedented. Now, for the Southeast, before now, the Southeast used to have 9.4 million registered voters. But the situation right now is that what we have now is that Southeast, 9 million plus, Southwest, 14 million, South-South, 12 million, Northeast, 11 million, Northwest, that's the biggest so far, 19 million. Now, North Central, 13 million. So, for the total in the South is 36 million. And the total for the Northern state is 44 million. I'm quoting from this document released by Yaga Africa. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari emerged with 15 million votes. And I think the runner-up had 12 million plus, yes, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this impressive, collection of PVC, it's showing something, it's saying something ahead of 2023. But the minister is telling us that we should be able to take it a notch higher by legislating upon it to make sure that it's binding. That people, should come out. It should be a duty, not a right.
Yeah, well, just the same issue, just like it's just moving further from what rights are guaranteed in the Constitution, and then further duties arising from those rights are expected of citizens. So it's the right of the citizen to vote, and it is implied that it's a duty for the citizen to participate in electioneering and in voting. But I think the major problem doesn't have to do with legislating, but with sensitization. Because honestly, the people have lost faith in their leaders. There's pervasive corruption, insecurity, so many things that will discourage the people. And the people say, well, our votes don't count.
I thought we've left that era.
No, but there are people who still say it. There are people who still say, no, I'm building up to this. Now, people say, but you see, awareness, sensitization by candidates, by political parties, have raised the tempo. Now, INEC, that's supposed to be the job of INEC. I know the political parties also have a duty, but INEC is supposed to be engaged in continuous voter sensitization because the continuous voter registration exercise. But I wonder why INEC usually waits until it's time for an election and then begins to ramp up activities towards in respect of voter registration. So I think INEC should sit up and not just busy itself with conducting elections and appearing at election tribunals, but to make sure that it sits with political parties, throws out jingles, even in working with the National Orientation Agency. Because I don't know that agency. I don't even know if it's still in existence.
Not well funded.
Yes.
Dosu, now look at in 2019 we had 7.3 million registered voters in Lagos. But the people that participated in the governorship exercise wasn't up to 2 million. As in people that decided who became the governor of Lagos State and everything. Now, BRF is seeking for a legislation that's not even collecting that PVC that matters now, but voting on election day. Not to collect PVC alone and to sit down at home on election day, but to make a legislation to legitimize voting.
I think that would be about the first. if we do it.
In the world, have you?
Because worldwide, like the figures we presented on this program not too long ago, voting in terms of numbers has dropped worldwide. Yeah. Even in the US, there is this apathy that has come to attend to elections worldwide. And Nigeria is not alone. Like Emeka said, a lot of factors account for this in Nigeria. And one of them will be what he mentioned, what do our leaders do for us? Yeah. Even when
who government help?
Government help. Number 2 is, will the votes count? Number 3, for me, the violence that we have seen attending our past elections, where people come out to vote, and while voting is on, some people come armed, some people die, and that's the end of it. I think, like I said, INEC has been doing a good job in terms of engaging people, publicity. We may say it is not enough. We may request for more. But in terms of what its mandate says, that institution has done a lot. Whether it is in the newspaper, it is online, it is engaging day to day. It is providing statistics virtually every day on its website. This so number of people have registered. If you now they are saying they have, I think, over 9 million PVCs uncollected, ready, but people are not collecting them. And now it's responding as it should when there's a complaint here.
We have almost 80 million people that will participate in the exercise now, compared to what we used to have before.
So what will I say in this case has accounted for this interest? It's ethnicity, purely. That's why we have this rise in consciousness that we believe has come about. Because people are now saying, see, it is going to be to thy tent, O Israel, if we are not careful with this election. So what we are going to see with the Southeasterners voting for the Southeastern person.
I've had this kind of discussion with the maker before, earlier this week.
Yeah, the people in the Southwest saying, this is our local, and staying with their own. And those who believe that
the status quo should,
the North should still be there, the North. But this is quite injurious to our polity. Why do I say so? When you look at the people who are coming out now to encourage people to go out for their PVC, you begin to see their tilt. A man who is from the Southeast comes out and says, be obedient. Go and collect your PVC. The man from the Southwest says, our local, go and collect your PVC. And it goes on and on. That's a major factor that is pushing this. But even at that, if that factor is there, we should be able to guarantee people who are eager now to register, to also ensure that they are able to vote. Because that is what we are talking about. When we look at all the statistics and we say we have about 80 million voters, people eligible to vote, and what we have at the end of an exercise is less than 30 million, it's poor. Though when we compare it to other countries. But for a Nigeria that is seeking salvation, that is seeking rejuvenation, that wants a lot of things to happen, we shouldn't allow that to be.
Jide, do you think this will be taking it a notch higher if we are to legislate on voting to make it something that is binding, legally binding, instead of just right?
I don't see how voting can be made compulsory. How would you make voting compulsory? People who vote, sometimes when they look at the candidates that are in the race, if you cannot find any of those candidates good enough to earn your vote, you stay away from voting. There's nowhere that people are forced to go and vote. I've never seen such a country. And that doesn't stop people from coming out to vote. Generally, to have more than 50% come out on election day to vote is unusual across the world.
Yeah.
But when the stakes are very high, like we had during the US presidential election, we saw unprecedented numbers.
Yeah.
Americans came out in large numbers. Everyone was determined to protect his position. Those who wanted Trump to continue, they were very fanatical about him. They were ready to give their all. And those who didn't want him to win also saw it as a life and death affair. So we saw a very close US election, closer than previous elections, and the turnouts were extremely impressive. The turnout was very, very impressive.
Massive.
So sometimes the kind of people on the ballot determines voter behavior. I mean, if people do not see, if the people on the ballot do not inspire confidence, people are not going to waste their time to vote. That's the normal thing. You can't force people to vote.
But
You
Jide,
can't force,
I
there's no
discovered
way that people are forced to vote.
Jide, I discovered
Okay.
that
Yeah.
it's not this our case now. A lot of people
Yes.
are going to pick up the PVC, but it's not a guarantee on election day that they will vote.
That they will come out. There's no guarantee that they will come out. Look, before the 2019 election, you saw how many millions of people registered to vote in Lagos State. Lagos and Kano were the highest in our country. But it didn't stop voter turnout in Akwa Ibom from being higher than that of Lagos. This is the point that we are making. In some places, the political culture, the political education is greater. So they find it easier to mobilize people to come out and vote. But it's not the same across our country. Delta State will record higher votes than Lagos. Whereas the number of people registered to vote in Lagos is much higher than Delta. River State will record higher votes than Lagos, whereas the number of registered voters in Lagos is a lot higher than River State. So that people are trooping to collect PVCs may not necessarily translate to a huge turnout on election day, as we have seen with Lagos.
Okay.
Because if more than 6 million people registered, in Lagos, why are we having a situation in which the totality of the votes cast is not even up to 1 million?
1 million.
So there is a lot that parties can do. Parties have the greater responsibility to mobilize their members, get them to come out on election day, mobilize them, encourage them to register, and then get them to come out on election day. That the register is just one part of the job. To come out on election day is the icing of the cake. And that is the bigger problem. Most people prefer to stay away on election day. Some will play football on election day. Some use the PVC simply as a means of identification to collect money in banks and all that. Some hold on to the PVC because they believe that with it, politicians will pay them on election day. So people collect PVC for different reasons.
All right. Now, moving on now. The rising insecurity in many parts of Nigeria is a pain in the hearts and authorities concerned are taking desperate measures to rein in the terror. As part of these measures, the governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale, has signed the anti-banditry bill passed by the State House of Assembly into law amid uproar over his call on residents to defend themselves against banditry. The new law, titled Prohibition and Punishment of Banditry, Cattle Rustling, Cultism, Kidnapping, and Other Incidental Offenses 2022, stipulated death penalty for anyone found guilty of banditry, kidnapping, and other related offenses. Let's hear from Governor Matawale.
The law I have just signed will serve as a legal instrument for prosecuting banditry-related offenders. The new law has provided that any person found guilty of banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, cultism, or being informant to the bandit is liable to the death penalty.
This issue of armed banditry or insecurity is not somebody who will take it to play politics with it, because armed bandit and the criminal element in the state doesn't know a member of APC or PDP, Christian or Muslim. So today is another historic day. I'm not going to leave any stone unturned to make sure that anybody found wanting should face warrant of the law and order.
Maximum punishment there from Zamfara State. Emeka.
Well, it's not just about laws, it's men that will implement laws. But I think the governor has come out to take the bull by the horns, because people have been asking, where are the terrorists being prosecuted or convicted? But we've not seen any. The kidnappers, how many have been taken to court? How many have been convicted? So now that he has done that, I hope it is basically for the purpose of dealing with this problem of banditry, and that politics will not be brought into it, because we know politicians, the way, they can, bring things out of nothing. And you see, talking about what he has said about the citizens carrying arms is still controversial, because if you look at the Firearms Act of 2004, I think there's some form of ambiguity there. It says the president can approve licenses. Then the commissioner of police can, with the consent of the governor, prohibit licenses. So do we now turn that the other way to say that the commissioner of police, with the consent of the governor, can issue licenses? So I think those, it's interesting that state police is one of the items on the agenda of the constitutional review for this year. So I just hope that the governors will just go all the way out and back state police, encourage the houses of assembly to back state police, instead of just pushing the citizens out there to go and get weapons and face well-armed terrorists and kidnappers and criminals. I think the states themselves should take up this responsibility to recruit, arm, and mobilize people, mobilize well-trained cadres to go out to deal with this problem. So I think, I commend the governor for taking that bold step, but we want to see action.
This kind of punishment, will this serve as a kind of deterrent? Do you think so?
It ordinarily should. But like Emeka asked, how many of these people get caught and then tried and sentenced? We've established it on this program several times, that even the well-known terrorists and bandits, they are walking the streets. They come into the open. You see them, you know them. So what then are we talking about in this case? But if this can be implemented, it's fine. And the issue of the call by the governor for citizens to get set and get arms and ammunition, I'm not saying it from the extreme angle from which some are looking at it. Ordinarily, you and I can apply to the police commissioner. Can I get this for my own security? But that must be for your own use, personal. So, and the commissioner of police must have certified you fit to use such. It's not just for anybody on the street. It must be for people who are certified fit, not just for any person with a mental issue to have a gun. That's the point from which I look at that call. But if it's about getting guns unlawfully, then even the governor is out of place, is out of position. I also like what the governor said about the establishment of what we have come to term as our own state vigilante, the officially approved ones, like Amotekun in the Southwest. It's a good move. Let him also do it, and let's see what happens with it. But in the final analysis for me, what we should be looking at is to tackle this issue from the roots. Nigerians want a better life. That's one. Number two is that we should not be having this kind of move at a time when we are going into politicking, serious politicking. Because when you look at some of the groups that evolved into terror groups across the country, whether it is in the South-South, it is in the Northwest, it's in the Northeast, it's in the, anywhere you look at it, what has happened is that politicians engaged these people before elections, armed them, and then left them with those arms and ammunition. Okay. That was where it began from.
Jide, now, capital punishment for this people, set of people, guys, then punishment for banditry, cattle rustling, cultism, and kidnapping. What do you make of this in Zamfara State?
Well, if you look at the law, it does not really prescribe death penalty for everyone. Although I heard the governor appear to talk like it is death penalty for everyone. No. The law prescribes 10 years imprisonment. It prescribes life imprisonment. It prescribes 30 years imprisonment. So you have jail terms ranging from 10 to 20 to 30 and then life imprisonment. So I don't really see anything revolutionary or anything really new in what the governor has come up with. Where you are involved in banditry and someone dies in your hands, of course it is death penalty. That's the way it is. To not attempt to solve a problem is bad enough. So I'm happy that the governor has given his assent to the bill. It prescribed death penalty for some level of banditry, from my own understanding. He also wants people to buy arms and have those weapons licensed. I'm taken aback. Poor people.
Let me hold you. Hang on, Jide. Let me hold you a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. Please don't go away.
Good afternoon, Oga. Now you be the landlord.
Yes, Nami.
Oga landlord, me go need one room for this your house, so.
Okay, sure you get work where you dey do.
Yes, I be nurse.
You know go dey owe me be that now.
Now how much be your rent, safe?
Not just 90,000 naira. Wait, oh, this guy, where you come from, Sef?
Oga, I come from Akamata.
Akamata, no talk am again. My spirit and Akamata people no dey ever join.
Oga, wetin happen now?
Come on for my compound. Na so baba thing na people sabi do for that Akamata. Come on for here.
Haba, Papa, wetin this innocent girl do you now?
Now people like you, they spoil Nigeria, Papa. I think you don't see them now. My people, they talk, say jollof rice, we dey for bottom pot today, go dey top of cooler tomorrow. As I take need you now, so you self need me. Because now one mama we get, we be Nigeria. Make we love ourselves, because now only together we go fit make our country better for us and our children them. One heart plus one love equals better Nigeria. Now the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government, they bring now this message.
Showing up in style inspires great confidence. IVM G5T appeals to class.
Time is of the essence. With IVM Kappa, business and meetings are always on the go.
Fun time with the family. Thank you to IVM Kingdom. IVM carries always stealing the show. Isn't she beautiful? Influence defines a great leader. IVM Seriki is Africa's commute king. Strong, reliable, and durable. With the concept of regionalization, Innocent Vehicle is committed to satisfying its customers with producing their everyday dream cars.
IVM, pride of African road.
Thank you for staying with us. The days leading to elections in Nigeria are usually characterized by defection, alignment, and realignment. In a bid for candidates and political parties to get victory, less than 3 weeks to the conduct of the 2022 governorship election in Osun State, I beg your pardon, about 10,000 members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have defected to the ruling All Progressive Congress in the states. The party chieftains who led others to defect include the factional state chairman of PDP, Wale Ojo, the running mate to the PDP candidate in 2018 governorship election in the state, Albert Adeogun, and a House of Representative aspirant in Ede Federal Constituency, Ayodele Asalu, and a party stalwart, Soji Ibikule. Let's share the story with you.
Mass defection of members of the People's Democratic Party into the APC fold in Osun State. They are former deputy governorship candidate of Ademola Adeleke in 2018, Albert Adeogun, former acting chairman of the PDP in the state, Wale Ojo, former lawmakers, among others. One after another, they speak on the motive behind their defection to the ruling APC.
Now it has a salary every month, fully paid. Not a situation where you pay 50% of salary to workers. You can see that our roads, there are improvements. Our schools, there are improvements.
It's the developmental stride undertaken by Governor Boyega Oyetola in developing Osun State.
I wouldn't want to brag too much. July 16th will tell you, probably when you see the results or when you see the figures we are churning out in Ejigbo for His Excellency, you will discover that I'm not just coming into the party as a person, I'm coming as a movement.
The National Secretary of the APC, Iyolo Mishori, says his target is to win July 16 governorship election.
We are going to vote, we are going to be peaceful. Our governor is very peaceful. Everybody is peaceful here. So we will not allow violence. We have another people to discuss the agencies to make sure that the making peace at all costs. So if we can't.
To the chairman of the APC in the state, more people are still coming.
We should stay forward. We need people like them amidst us to move forward.
The governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, commended the defectors for taking right decision.
It's a way of telling everybody that APC is the party of the moment, the party of the people. I'm excited. It gives him more confidence that winning this election is the grace of God, certain.
APC flags were handed over to the defectors by the state governor. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
Politicians doing their thing. It's like maybe 2 weeks or a little bit, some days more than 2 weeks to the election in Osun State. And the dominant parties, just PDP and the APC, and we are seeing this. What do you make of this?
Well, it's interesting. Interesting times. APC is doing its own. PDP is also out there telling people that APC faithful are defecting to its side. Yes, it's interesting. You see, politics should be without bitterness. It should be about interest, win the people and all of that. But I find it very disturbing, the way some of these people, politicians, just feel no qualms about just jumping from one place to the other. A running mate, that means if the governor had won, if that man had won, if Adeleke had won, he would have been deputy governor and he would have defected. I think we should, over time, begin, put more principles into politics. It's not just about personal interest. There should be, because it's a lot of these things, you find a lot of these people who defect. At the end of the day, when they can't get what they want, they move again. Some even move round up to 3, 4, 5 political parties. And how does it help their followers? How are the lives of their followers improved by this jumping ship? I don't know.
4 years ago, it was like a neck-on-neck thing between PDP and APC. This election even went into, runoff. If you remember, it was it was a big battle between the two same candidates. That's Ademola Adeleke for the People's Democratic Party and Governor Boyega Oyetola for the All Progressive Congress. Now, 4 years down the line, has anything changed?
A lot of things have changed.
Okay.
The neck-to-neck that we spoke about 4 years ago was about the incumbents then grudgingly campaigning for the candidate of the party.
Grudgingly.
I use that word with some reservations anyway. It was also about some of the bigwigs in the state, including Iyiola Omisore, being in the opposition at that time, strengthening the PDP to a large extent. It was also about the fact that it was a transition from one governor to another, not the sitting governor contesting. Because every sitting governor has a better hold on not just his party, but on the people of the state. An outgoing has already lost some of his crowd, some of his supporters, because the perks that they expect that they can further get is no longer there. So the scenario has changed a lot now in Osun State. It is not likely, from my reading of the situation, that it can be that close again in Osun State. It is not very likely, because you can see what is happening. The PDP is losing followers.
Due to internal
wrangling. Which was not as pronounced as it is now 4 years ago. So I don't see a close contest as it was then. I don't see it. I don't expect it.
I will ask you the same question. Do you see anything like we experienced 4 years ago when we had to even go for a runoff?
I already predicted the day after the APC primaries in Osun State that Governor Oyetola will be re-elected. It's going to be re-elected, and I suspect that he will be re-elected with an audacious margin. The PDP still retains some strength in Ede North and South, Obokun, Oriade, But I don't think they can give the APC the kind of hassles that they gave the past time. Since 1999, the PDP had not won in Ifelodun. That is Ikirun. But they won in 2018. But I don't see them winning there this time around. Of course, that local government is very close to Borikwe, which is the local government of the governor. The governor, no doubt about it, has done some work, and more people are happy with him. Then, don't also forget that Ife, that the APC had always found it difficult to do well in because of the presence of Omishore.
Yes, it's not the national secretary of
the
the
bulk
party.
of these people, yes, the bulk of these people, almost 10,000 of them that have defected, are Omishore's supporters. They always, once Omishore is on the ballot or is backing a particular candidate, Ife always supports wherever Omishore is. Practice.
It seems to be a big factor. This Iyola Omishore, I remember 4 years ago.
Difficult. I mean, it's not been possible to stop the APC. So I think that what we've seen is a clear sign that the PDP will be blown out of water. And I'm just saying the truth. So people will see clearly at the end of the day that is the truth that I'm saying. The PDP candidate has to do much better than simply dancing at every opportunity. He has to show the people what he's got. The people are not asking for a dance. They are asking for what you've got to offer them. Do you have the capacity? Can you do better than the incumbent? If you can't do better than the incumbent, then they will tell themselves that there's no reason to vote for you. You are not simply going to impress them by dancing at any opportunity. No, it takes much more than that to impress people.
Because you see this going like for the highest bidder, because I've seen a campaign in Osun State, the man that was accused to, and he was campaigning and he was telling them that, look, there's naira, there's dollar, there's pound sterling, there's money. And from the trend we saw in Ekiti State, do you see that trend continuing?
Well, unfortunately, poverty has been a major determinant in elections in Nigeria. Politicians throw money around, and some of these so-called political heavyweights, are just can swing around when there's money with them. But by the time their purses start drying and the favors are not coming anymore, you see them tilting in the direction of where things are likely to flow. That is the direction of the governor. So just like you said, yes, I know there will still be incidences of vote buying. EFCC said he arrested some people, but where are they? Where are the people he prosecuted? Who was convicted? So all of these things just give people the idea that, politicians will continue with their antics any which way.
It seems that, look, from what we saw in Ekiti, I don't think Osun State will be different. Will he go to the highest bidder?
Yeah, well, like Emeka said, we all keep watching how these things pan out. Because money for votes has gone sophisticated now. So if you vote for me, I must see the evidence before I pay you. Indeed, if that did not happen in Ekiti, where the opposition was accused of having spent so much money, then we must give it to the voters that it appears we are getting better with our conscience in terms of casting our votes. Because these days you don't pay up front.
Really?
They don't pay upfront a lot of times. You pay after you have voted and there is evidence that you delivered. So let's wait for what happens in Osun. Let's see if...
Julie, I witnessed something very, very sad too, that when they get to the polling unit, they collect their ballot papers, and after thumb printing, they have their smartphone with them. They just snap it. Quickly, this will happen under 5 seconds. They just thumb print and they'll snap it. So I think that's the evidence that Dikbo is talking about.
Yes, and apart from that, the cubicles are not high enough. So politicians plant their agents to spy at who you are voting for, because the cubicles are quite low. And that was why INEC said it was looking at redesigning the voting cubicles so that they can provide some secrecy for the voter. The way it is now, they are low. So even if they give you money up front, some of them give money up front. In fact, they sometimes distribute money on the eve of the election. Many parties do that now. They go around on the eve of the election to give money. And we saw the Yaga report complaining that even the campaigns for Osun are already characterized by distribution of money and food items. So they will come give you money, but they also want to see
evidence
clearly. They want to be sure that you voted for them. So the cubicles allow them to be able to spy on the voter. In any case, some of the security agents work hand in hand with these politicians. So I've talked in the past about a policeman helping to distribute money to voters on the queue. You know, so it's they have all kinds of tricks. It's not in all cases that you must show them who you have voted for. In any case, INEC has said people should not go to polling centers with their phones. So why should people go to polling centers with their phones, as we saw in Ekiti? So where people are not allowed to go to polling centers with their phones, they have other means of verifying that you indeed voted for them, even if you're taking money from them. It's becoming more and more sophisticated. In Ekiti, the election before the last, they transferred money to people. They sent money to people electronically. Have we forgotten?
Yeah,
I remember.
So it's just getting worse.
We are getting better.
Getting worse.
Okay, and finally, the gale of defection hovering over the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, appears to be getting attention from President Muhammadu Buhari, who has waded into the post-primary crisis rocking the party. President Buhari, who met with some APC senators at the presidential villa, Abuja, on the outcome of the party primaries, assured them that their grievances will be addressed and justice will prevail. Let's share the story with you.
Aggrieved APC senators bring their grievance to President Muhammadu Buhari. The outcome of the primary elections has left many of them with an uncertain future. More than 50 senators will not return to the National Assembly next year. Most of them are APC lawmakers. They have come to warn President Buhari about the likelihood of another gale of defection that will jeopardize the majority status of the APC in the National Assembly. But President Buhari urged them to exercise restraint and continue to demonstrate commitment to the ideals of the party.
I have noted your grievances, particularly as it concerns the just concluded processes, the cost to the nation, the threat to the majority position held by our party in the legislative chambers, and likely consequent costs to the electoral fortunes of our party as we approach the general elections. We must not allow these dire threats to come to pass. I have, since the conclusion of the processes, been inundated with various reports and complaints In keeping with ethos, therefore, I shall continue to address the ensuing challenges and grievances through the party machinery while paying keen attention to the outcomes.
The primary elections set some lawmakers at loggerheads with governors who largely control the structure of the party. In most cases, there was little or nothing the National Working Committee of the APC could do to reconcile the differences that exist. The national chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, who until his resignation from the Senate in April was a ranking lawmaker, could also not save his colleagues from an imminent defeat at the primary elections. But he is making efforts to stop them from abandoning their membership of the APC in pursuit of a political future elsewhere. Maybe this meeting with President Buhari will placate the unhappy lawmakers, as the party desperately needs a strong force that will propel it to victory at the polls in 2023. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
The turnover of this lawmaker is not getting so alarming.
The nation is really, it's affecting the nation because the quality of lawmaking ought to be getting better. In every 4 years, we should get better. And you saw the problems we had with the amended Electoral Act. I mean, if we had a crop of very experienced senators and members of the House of Representatives, I don't think some of those things would have happened. And then you see some laws too, some resolutions. You can see that they lack that bite expected of a legislature, people by experienced politicians. But yes,
because by the time we fast went, some of these lawmakers, they fell out of favor with their governors, and the rest, they say, is this true? The governor did not just simply want to bend. I saw Smart Adeyemi there, and I know lately Smart Adeyemi has been singing.
It is not about falling out of favor with the governor. It is the fact that even the governors have their own interest. For instance, we have a lot of governors who are ending their second term now,
and they want to go,
and they are looking for political relevance. So they want to go to the Senate. In that case, every senator who is occupying that position knew from the onset that this man is going to come for this seat.
They are like 48 in number now.
And that was why
former governors.
You recollect that on this program, we discussed this issue of the Electoral Act a lot of times. And we knew it was where it was going to end. Because once the governors do not allow the senators or the lawmakers to have their way, this is what will happen in the primaries. And it has happened that way. And you can see defection already happening. It's not just limited to this 22. And there is no assurance that meeting with the president will still stop this 22 from leaving, because they want to be politically relevant.
What are the feelings you are getting? What do you read between the lines? This might be costly for the ruling party.
Yeah, the president said that clearly, that it's costly, it's risky for the political fortune of the party as it concerns the 2023 general election. The president had warned in the past that popular politicians should not be denied of their opportunity to win. But where there is an ego war between governors and lawmakers, the governors sacrifice a good number of these lawmakers. Even some governors who are not interested in going to the Senate, they still made sure that they stop these lawmakers from retaining claiming the tickets, because they felt that the lawmakers targeted the preeminence that governors enjoyed by way of appointing people as delegates and all that. Although that law didn't sail through, but the governors, a lot of them didn't forgive these lawmakers, and they deliberately targeted them. It's so painful that the level playing field was not provided. And that was why the president said something that I held on to. He said he has received reports and news of the fraud that took place during the presidency, during the primaries. So the president was aware that some of the primaries were characterized by bare-faced, fraudulent electioneering process. So that's why a lot of these guys lost. It's not fair for us to continue to treat federal lawmakers in this manner. Elsewhere, they spend much longer in the Congress, in the National Assembly. America, the lawmaker that spent the longest time in America spent 51 years in the Congress. Another one spent 49 years. So in our own case, some of them will do one term and they are chased away for no reason. For no reason. So if you want to have quality lawmaking, it comes with experience. But a lot of these people don't have the experience. People are praising Gbajabiamila today. But Gbajabiamila has been in the National Assembly for so long.
2003.
For so long. You know, so this is the thing. You can't keep chasing people away just because you are interested in their position or because you have someone else that you want to use to replace them. I mean, we've seen, even in Ekiti State, I've heard of a particularly brilliant lawmaker that is not coming back, Ajetu Mobi. And it's not as if a governor is interested in his seat, but it's not coming back. And a lot of his colleagues are very angry because he's one of the best in the Senate. So this is what we do to ourselves. It's just not good at all. Not good enough. I don't know what the president can do. I doubt if he can really do anything, except maybe to promise some of them future appointments. But really, I still believe that some of them will leave because they are leaving even to send a clear message. Look at a whole majority leader of the Senate scoring less than 5 votes in the primaries. Is it that unpopular? It can't be that unpopular now.
Was humiliated.
Just that the governors killed this thing. The governors killed this thing in their favor. And then the governor moved to take the ticket of Aliero. The primaries and he lost out in the PDP. He wanted to be governor there. And they brought him in 2014. Now he's going to take the ticket of the man who brought him to the party. I mean, this is immoral the way the thing is done. Let people lose. If they want to lose, let them lose on a clean slate. But a situation in which people just pick other people, they call primaries, something that governor just sit down and just write names and you call it primaries. I mean, it's just not, it's not right. And that's why we're having these unprecedented numbers leaving the APC.
Thank you.
Because it was just too bad this year.
I'll thank you, BKO. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you so much for having me today again.
And Emeka Maduna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us this Sunday by 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodidi Ozubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today.